Thank you very much. Ms. Rackwall, you make all of us Wisconsinites proud today. Do you know the statistics from 2019 to 2021? There's nearly a doubling of the number of deaths in Wisconsin from fentanyl. Is any state exempt from this in your travels? And
I agree with you, Mr. Tiffany. From what I believe, in those 2 years, Wisconsin's percentage was about 97% increase. And in my opinion, with the experience that we have, which I feel is probably, early in its stages because Logan, it's been very recent, but I think every single state is experiencing an increase. Our kids are at risk. Every single kid is at risk. And even if there's kids that we're not seeing, some kids are not dying, but they're dealing with addiction issues as well, very young, because these cartels, these pills they're being made to drive addiction. That's what they want. They want these kids to be addicted. It's a business. But I do believe it's everywhere.
And is this why you said everything has to be done in order to try to get this under control?
Absolutely. If we miss one little loophole, that's why we're seeing numbers go up. I mean, there's some things being done, but everything has to be done. It has to be done at every angle.
Dr. Westlake, it's also good to have you from the great state of Wisconsin here also. And I want to thank you. I voted for the HOPE agenda in Wisconsin, which you helped put together, which was really groundbreaking, wasn't it, in America, first of its kind?
Yes.
You're an emergency room doctor. What does death look from fentanyl?
Right. So opioids just cause respiratory suppression, so people just stop breathing, and then they pass out, and then they turn blue, and then they die, if not resuscitated.
So it's almost like they're being smothered?
Or the same thing with an execution. It can be the same thing as a chemical execution.
So it's similar to a chemical execution?
Right.
Many of the critics of FRS scheduling, Dr. Westlake, cite concerns with mandatory minimums in the sentencing guidelines, insisting that this criminal justice framework will do nothing to prevent FRS market saturation. Can you briefly explain why it's important to permanently keep this on Schedule 1 with the associated criminal penalties?
Great, yeah, thanks for the question. So criminal penalties do not stop use of drugs. Drug users are going to use drugs. People with substance abuse disorder are going to use drugs. Traffickers, as Dr. Singer said, are going to traffic drugs regardless of the penalties. But what this does, and where this is novel, and where I think this is not some shiny object that's distracting from the purpose, this closes off the spigot of fentanyl-related substances. So this targets the legal chemical companies in China from stopping creating fentanyl-related substances. According to the GA report in 2021, it has accomplished that. There's relatively no new fentanyl-related substances being created. So you've got this big faucet of illicit fentanyl, which is a huge problem. Right now, the spigot for fentanyl-related substances is turned off, but it could reopen. And I think the 2,500 people that died in Florida from fentanyl-related substances that were legal in 2016 to 2017 would disagree that fentanyl-related substances is a shiny object.
Mr. Maltz, what we basically heard from the other side is that immigration is not a problem. We didn't hear that in the testimony from Sheriff Daniels, Cochise County, Arizona, and the sheriff from Yuma County over the last month. Do you agree with the sheriffs that immigration has fostered this increase in fentanyl coming across the border?
100%. The country's being invaded. There's migrants coming from over 160 countries. They're looking to get here for a better life, many of them, okay? But we also have terrorists, we have rapists, we have sexual predators, we have criminals coming over that border every day. There's over 1 million gotaways coming into the country. Here's the problem, Congressman. The people in this town don't listen to the experts that know what they're talking about, that have been there on the border. Chairman Biggs goes down there, like many of you go down there and talk to the experts, not reading it in the Washington Post.
Sir, yeah, I just need my final 15 seconds here, but thank you for that. If for no other reason, Let's set aside the human trafficking and the largest human trafficking network that has been set up in the history of the world. Set it aside. We have the greatest number of people on the terror watch list come across our border, correct?
Yes.
Set that aside. If for no other reason, for fentanyl, we should be securing the border. I yield back.